All right, so today we're jumping into a really powerful concept from a text by Pastor Chris Oyakhilome. It's all about something called divine righteousness. Now, what is that really, and why is it talked about as this game-changing gift? Well, let's break it down. So the text kicks off by saying that Jesus brought three huge foundational gifts to us. And these aren't things you could ever earn or work for on your own. This wasn't just another philosophy or self-help plan. Nope, this was something totally different.
Just three. It sounds simple, right? But the argument here is that these three things have absolutely massive implications for everything.
Okay, so what are they? They are righteousness, eternal life, and fellowship. Now, they're all presented as crucial, for sure, but it's that first one, righteousness. That's really positioned as the cornerstone of it all. So for our explainer today, that's the one we're going to zero in on. And that, of course, leads us to the big question. Righteousness is a word we hear a lot, especially in spiritual circles. But what does it actually mean in this context? Let's dig into the definition the source gives us. And, this isn't left up to interpretation. The text is super clear and gives a really specific, really powerful definition. So here it is. Righteousness is defined as the manifestation of God's own excellence, his love, his purpose. Think of it like this. It's the very quality of being perfect, totally faultless, of being completely right in who he is and what he does. Okay, but this is where it gets really interesting. The text says this isn't just some legal title or status change. No. When a person receives this righteousness, that same quality, that rightness of God, is literally imparted into their spirit. It actually becomes a part of their nature. And this leads us to maybe the most important point in the whole text, how you get it. And the answer here really pushes back against that common idea that you have to somehow earn your way into a right relationship with God. Yeah, this really breaks it down. On one side, you've got what we all know. That struggle to be good enough through our own actions. A path that the source says is, always going to fall short. But then, on the other side, you have this totally different idea. A perfect righteousness that you don't earn at all. You just receive it as a gift. The text really grounds this whole idea in a specific verse from Romans. And listen to the key words here. Receive the gift of righteousness. See that? The language is all about receiving, not achieving. It's about accepting something that's being freely offered to you. So how does this all work? What's the process? Well, the source lays it out in a pretty straightforward way. Step one is a personal choice to receive Jesus. Then, boom, righteousness is imparted. It's given as a gift. And the outcome? You get this brand new ability to actually live in that rightness. Okay, that's the theory. But what does this actually look like in real life? If righteousness is a gift, what changes? The source gets really practical here and lists some very specific results. First off, the big one is having a right standing with God. But what's just as huge is what gets taken away. The text says this gift just gets rid of guilt, fear, condemnation, that nagging sense of inferiority, all of it. It's meant to totally flip your relationship with God, from one based on fear to one based on, confidence. And I love this quote from the source. It just sums it all up so well. It says, now we can think right, talk right, act right, and live right. The impact is described as being total. You see, it's not just some external thing like your status has changed. No, it's a deep internal transformation that changes how you think, how you talk, how you act, everything. So as we start to bring this all together, the source boils it all down to one essential conclusion. And it's this. This isn't just about trying harder or following a new list of do's and don'ts. It's presented as something way, way more fundamental than that. And here it is, the final biggest distinction the text makes. It says this isn't about getting a religion. It's about receiving a new nature. That's the core takeaway. The gift of righteousness isn't a rule book. It's a total identity change. It's about God's own character being imparted right into your spirit. So that leaves us with a pretty powerful thought to chew on. The source doesn't present righteousness as some far-off goal you have to struggle towards. Instead, it's framed as a gift that you've already been given, which naturally leads to a really interesting question, doesn't it? What would it actually mean to live your life like you've already received it?